Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode of 7 Minutes Scaling Secrets, where we interview entrepreneurs and learn a secret on how they scaled up their businesses. Today, our special guest is Ep.3, who is an entrepreneur who solves people's problems with burnout. This episode was brought to you by Superscaling. Join the foundation program today and learn how you can systemize and superscale your business so that you can get $100,000 a month at least, with a productive team from all over the world, raving fans as clients, and happy founders who have true freedom. Visit superscaling.com/foundation today. And now, back to the episode. Mark, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, hi Alvin. So thanks for coming, helping me go on the interview. So so what I do is I help mostly like 9 to 5s, right, or startup entrepreneurs, right, to achieve six-figure income, right, to become free and fulfilled, right, without overwhelm, without sacrifice, without burnout, right. So most of the people that I tend to work with, right, tend to be very overwhelmed by, let's say, information, their priorities, or they just find they don't have enough time, right, or not enough energy to do what they do, right. So then we help them to manage that, right, manage those different obstacles and resistance, right, to not only make money, right, in terms of six figures, right, but I think more importantly, right, without sacrificing any other area that they feel that's important to them. So what we do is we have a coaching program, right, but we also have free content, right, systems, tools that we help people with, right, on a broader scale as well. So yeah, that's a bit of what I do.
Awesome. Hey, burnout is something that is close and dear to me. When I was starting Vodian as a kid, I started it when I was 17 years old. How I look at it, I think somebody said this, and I'm going to steal his idea, is that our life is made out of like 4 burners, right? As if on a stove, there are like 4 burners. One is on like friends and family. The other one is on career. One's on personal health. And I can't remember what the last one is. But basically, you can only have 1 or 2 burners at the same time. You can't have everything burning at the same time, right? Otherwise, you suffer from burnout, right? And that's something that's true. As a startup entrepreneur in those days, I basically sacrificed everything else. The business was first and foremost in all that I did. My families, my friends, my hobbies, my sports, anything else was something on the back seat, right? My friends back then, they would hang out and they would like maybe go clubbing, for example, and lots of drinks and late nights. But I couldn't do that because, I wanted to build the business, and that required time and sacrifice. And burnout was something that was very true and very real because, a lot of times we had to sacrifice so much and spend so much time that, that almost naturally becomes something that happens. So how do you actually prevent that? Like in this journey?
So I think like a lot of people, right, they always feel that it's an either or, right? And actually to some extent it is true, right? But I'm going to give a quick example of my own story, right, before I go on to maybe a bit of the frameworks or systems that help me a lot. So for example, right, like when I was in a tech startup space, right, I knew founders that were like living on like $500 per month at the point of time, right? Even though they were raising like millions of dollars for their startup, right? They didn't hang out with friends, they just went to the office all the time, right? And that's great. On the other hand, right, you had like even not just entrepreneurs, but people, right, they were enjoying their lives, they were getting good pay for sure, right? But they knew how to enjoy with their friends, their family, and for themselves as well. And I realized at the end of the day, right, is any of the choices bad? Not necessarily. I think what causes dissatisfaction at the end of the day, right, is not being clear of what you want. So for example, right, so for me, right, let's say my target income, right, in the future to be retired, right, is to make 50K per month, right? And I can choose, right, to either do it in 5 years or do it in 10 years, right? So it's never about how realistic, unrealistic the goal is, right? It's all about the timeline to get there. And that's one thing I realized. So if the timeline for you, right, and get it ASAP, you got to make some sacrifices at the end of the day, right? But if you're saying, okay, actually right now, for me, maybe I'm 30, actually this is the best time for my life to go and enjoy, to go and hike, go and do all the crazy stuff. Maybe I want to enjoy my life right now. And because of that, maybe I'm okay, right, with maybe extending my timeline towards achieving what I want. And then, right, either way, right, you're going to be happy and satisfied where you want. So I think what I realized, why people are dissatisfied, right, it's not because they can't manage or can't balance. It's because they don't even know what they want at the first place and what are the potential trade-offs, right, the timeline for themselves.
Absolutely, man. I love that. Like a lot of things that I talk about, even in the business scaling space, has got to do with the entrepreneur knowing what the end goal is, and then you can work backwards. Sometimes people don't just not know what they want. Sometimes they know they want too many things at the same time, right? So it's a matter of prioritization, and you can't have everything. But if you prioritize and say that there's one thing that you absolutely want above everything else, then you know how to sacrifice and make the necessary adjustments. So
add on a little bit, because okay, this is a topic that I get very excited about, because I realized once people get that, right, then they get a lot clearer about what they want to do, how they manage their time, how they manage their space and schedules, right? And they don't feel so like overwhelmed, right, anymore. So I always share, right, if people are overwhelmed, it's because they're just not sure what they want, right? So for example, for me personally, right, is do I want to spend time with my family, my friends? Yes, I do, but I do want to work on business as well. So what I do, right, is I already start pre-planning by scheduling it, right? So for example, right, every Friday night for me is date night. Right, it's a non-negotiable. Every Saturday night, every Sunday night is family for family dinners, right? And then for friends, right, typically it's either Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoons, and the other day is for me to do my work, continue working on it, learning, right? And weekdays, right, similarly. So I think once you get that clarity, right, and then you talk about priorities, right, then you can start structuring your week, your calendar, and whatnot to really achieve or to get where you want in the first place. Yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that people need to know, not just entrepreneurs, right? Like anyone, like busy professionals, anybody in a career, anybody that basically has multiple areas in their lives that they want to actually make progress in. Yeah, cool. And okay, so I love what you're saying. What you also said is that you've managed to make a 6-figure income doing the stuff that you love, and you're not burned out at all. How old are you right now, if you don't mind?
30.
So you're 30 years old, you have a 6-figure income, and you've done this without burnout. Is there something that you can share with the audience about people that might want to follow in your footsteps and do something that you're doing, right? Because you seem to be leading a very holistic life.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So I think big disclaimer, right? So I don't think I've ever like officially burnt out, right? And my definition of burnout is just that there are like days or weeks that you just don't feel like doing anything. You don't want to get out of the bed, right? You're just like really struggling, right? So are there times where I feel a bit overwhelmed at times? Yes, because energy, where's the energy? Sometimes I try to push a little bit too hard and then I have to retreat a bit. Yeah, it happens, right? But not to that level of burnout. So with that, right, I think it's two quick answers. I think number one, right, was because at the start of when I really declared myself to focus on really achieving a 6-figure income, where I finally made an intention, right, I think the first thing was really asking myself, what did I enjoy to do? Or at the very least, right, what was I doing all for? Because I realized, I think now there are some terms like brownout and I think got blah out. There's a lot of words right now.
Really?
But yeah, during these days. But I think one thing I think what helped me is really because I knew what I wanted. I was very excited with that vision for myself, right? So I think that's number one, right? Is know what you want, why you want it, and get excited. And if it doesn't excite or engage you, then of course, not getting burnout is a little bit tougher because you start forgetting and start being demotivated, right? Number two, I think one thing that really helped me, right, if I'm looking my journey for the past 4 years, whether is it making 6 figures through affiliate marketing, right, when I was still a 9-to-5 employee, whether is it through my business or working in a company as a digital marketer, right, I use this practice of what I call my daily themes of the week. So for example, right, when I was an employee, right, so of course 9 to 5 I've worked, right? Mm-hmm. But at night, so let's say Monday nights for me, right, was to continue working on my career and to learn and to get better at it. So for me, it was tech startups at the point of time, how to analyze startups, about building a community, right, getting better at it, right? Friday nights for me was for me to hang out with my friends, to chill, to relax, right? And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays was for me to work on my income. Right? Investing, my affiliate marketing, right? My personal brand and whatnot. So I was focused all on that. So by having those daily themes for the week, right, I'm not wasting my weeknights. Because most people, when they don't have an intention of what I'm going to do, right, then they start chilling, they start watching Netflix, they start relaxing and chill, and then it gets a bit sucked out. So one thing that really helped me, right, I realized when looking back at my actions was managing to get those weekly focus for me, and then Saturday and Sundays I can be a bit more open for myself. I guess so that's how I did it with burnout. I guess the next question, if I could share a little bit about how I accelerated my progress, right, was I started to think about what can I do, right? What's that one action I can do, right, that create created multiple benefits for me. So I think it's the whole concept or the mental model of creating massive leverage, not in terms of investing, like borrowing money, but what was that one action I can do, right, to give me multiple benefits, right? So for example, right, when I let's say my first year, I was still very new, very complete start, right? One thing I did was I decided to join in to be a Tony Robbins affiliate, right?
Okay.
And when I went there, right, I knew a few things, right? Number one, right, even if I failed, I could learn a lot, right? I could connect with all these people because we're all in a Facebook group, right? We could talk to them, right? All these American, like top 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, right? It would be a good story to tell people with it as well, right? And it could be potential income. So there's that one action with like 4 to 5 benefits together, right? And then, fortunately, I managed to succeed to get my income for the first year, right? But what I realized is over time, right, I started to strategize my actions. What's that one action, right, that could create multiple benefits as well, right? And another quick example, right, was me joining when I switched my job, right, to joining a marketing company that was related to what I wanted, right? So over there, right, I could learn from people who are very experienced investing. So I could learn from investing. I could hang out with people who are motivated, who are driven by the point of time, right? Number 3 is I could actually use a little bit of the branding to be at a company to actually start interviewing people and learning from people who are successful as well.
Nice.
Right. I could learn about marketing. I was completely new at marketing at the point of time. Right. I wanted to be a coach, trainer, and speaker. So I could use that as a platform for me to learn, to coach, to speak. I was always volunteering to be an MC, to speak for free, right? To be the one introducing the speakers, just for me to get my airtime, right? And a few other benefits. So I'm always thinking about what's that one action, right, that give me multiple benefits. And I think that was what helped me to accelerate my progress as well.
Oh man, I love that. Okay. Something that you said, I think really resonated with me because I'm always thinking about the alternatives, right? Like there could be an alternative Mark, right? Imagine Mark right now, there's an alternative Mark who went through the same thing that you did, who could have joined that marketing company as a job. And as a job, right, they would not have done everything that you've done, right? They have done a job, they've signed up, went to a job, had been at their desk maybe from 9 to 6, done maybe a good job at it, right? And then they go back home and that's it. Netflix from 7 to 10 p.m., go to bed, and the next day it just repeats itself. And they will have none of the results that you have gotten. And I think that's something that harks back to what you've talked about intent and being really clear about your priorities and what you want. And once you know that, you can start designing systems and pathways to actually get to what you desire. A lot of times people ask me, how to start a business and should I maybe get a job first to get experience? I think that's the wrong way of thinking about it because they assume that once they join a job, things will start coming their way. But it's not going to be the case. It's if it does happen, it's going to be by luck. But we can design our own luck by actually going to a job with a very specific goal of maybe improving our knowledge, like what you said, right? Or maybe specifically to increase our network with people that matter, right? So we go out, like you did it by specifically creating interview opportunities with people that you want to network with, right? It's not just a generic improvement in networking, but with specific people that help you with your networking. I think that's something that's really powerful and can be applied to almost anybody's career and life.
Yeah, I think that's something that I think I wasn't really intentionally thinking about it at that point of time. I was just like, okay, since I was here, right, might as well make use out of it. So I think when I read a few years later, this book called Unfair Advantage, right? They're talking about like identifying what's your unfair advantage to be able to succeed, right, that way faster than anybody else. I realized that on some level, right, when I was starting out, I didn't really have that unfair advantage, but I was busy building it up, right? So I think that's one thing that when I look back, I was like, hey, right, I think that worked out pretty well for myself over the past couple of years or so.
Cool. Hey, I don't know if you have the answer to this, but I've always gotten questions about passion. How does one discover their passion? Do you have an answer to that? My passion as an entrepreneur was almost accidental because I love computers and I started finding out and developing that passion by exploring all the other aspects of computers, right? Coding, programming, designing, graphics design, whatever, right? I was very, very interested in that. And I kept spending so much time on a computer. And that led me to my first business, which was web design, which led me to my second business, which was web hosting. And then things started like moving and progressing from there, right? And that has always been my passion. I never grew up wanting to be a businessman, but it became the case because I was always actively pursuing that. But what happens if people don't have a passion? How does one discover that?
It's because I think if you interview, like if I did this interview like a few days ago of this time, right, I would have given a completely different answer, right? But I think just like last night I was doing a bit of coaching, right, about the term of freedom, right? I think the topic just went on to the word of passion, right? And I think one of my coaches, right, I think shared with everyone that if you look at the Greek method or something, I'm not so sure exactly where I got it from. The word passion is not really about what you love. It's actually about what are you willing to suffer.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa, okay. So then with that right in mind, I realized that looking at passion, right, if you just think about what you love and enjoy, right, it becomes very sometimes it gets a bit like it's a two-edged sword, because if you start doing the things you like and love, but because of, let's say, you're doing it as a side hustle, as a business, and you start disliking, hating it, right, it's like, number one, you're probably not going to do well. Number two, you start hating that initial hobby, right? But when I started looking, right, at passion, right, it's about what are you willing to do, right? Or what are you willing to suffer, right? More than anybody else. So for example, for you, right, Alvin, right, very likely why this was your passion is not really because you love every single thing about web coding. I think it's probably because on part, you're willing to suffer, to go the extra mile, right? To learn a bit deeper about the coding portion, how to optimize it, how to get better, right? So for me, right, I knew, I think it was quite intuitive at that point of time because I love learning. So that is number one. To me, it was very normal, right? But what I realized why I love learning and grow is nothing to do with like mathematical formulas or physics concepts and theories, right? It was about investing, right? It was about high performance, high productivity, right? Being fulfilled, right? Personal development, right? And then I think anything to do with business, especially for startups. Then I was like, oh, right, with that, right, I just started to go deeper into it, right? Because I was willing to go the extra mile. It's not that I love reading every book every time, but I just love growing and learning from there. So for people, right, who are looking to find their passion because they haven't found out, right, number one is start reviewing, right, to see what are you willing to suffer, right, and to go the extra mile for.
Yeah.
But if you are if you can't think too much, right, mind sensing is likely because you haven't taken enough action yet, right? So I think this is something that I've interviewed, right, a lot of different folks, right, at the start trying to find their passions, right, is try out different things, right? And when I say try out, it's not like a one day thing and they just give up, right? Usually what I realize is at least at the very least between 2 weeks to 1 month, you can test out something, whether it's learning, reading, hands-on practice, talking to people about it, right? And then to see whether you like it for yourself. For a lot of my coaches, right, sometimes their priority for a quarter, right, would just be to explore what they wanted. So every week, every 2 weeks, right, they just test out something new, whether it's videos, editing, whether it's coding, whether it's reading a book about mindsets, right, coaching, psychology, right? And then they will just start reviewing to say, hey, I enjoyed that. Do I want to go deeper? If not, okay, great, let me just go for something else. So I think even having a priority to explore passions, right, something that I feel is quite underrated today. But I hope that helps in terms of finding the passion in today's world.
Oh man, I think that's going to be very useful to the audience because I don't think enough time is given to explore certain things. And people always seem to pursue, very fixed structures, what's in school or, what's commonly accepted.
Yeah.
But what you said, the process of discovery requires work, requires sacrifice of at least time. Because if you can give the 2 to 4 weeks at something, just trying it out to see whether you like it or not, I think 2 to 4 weeks is a great amount of time. It could be like what you said, reading, talking to people. It could be even an internship. It could even be like volunteering for somebody and working for free just to get a sense of whether or not you like marketing or whether you like sales or whether you like public speaking or any of those things. From the outside, all these aspects are really hard to understand, and we need to get inside to really understand whether or not we are willing to make that sacrifice that you talked about.
Yeah, I think the sacrifice and the suffering was something I was like, oh yeah, like it's not like I love every single part of it, right? But I think that's something I was willing to go through the effort, go through the extra mile for. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that, man. And because of that, you now have a 6-figure income. You now you don't burn out. I think that's great. Having that purpose, having that intent, doing the things that you love, that are in sync with like your lifestyle and your desires. I think that's something that a lot of people want, not just entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. Thanks so much, Mark. One final question. Where can people find out more about what you do and reach out to you?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the whole concept of like burnout, overwhelmed, being tired has been so. I've been getting so many questions over the years, right? So I think back then I created like a guide, right? Just a step-by-step guide. It's not just like theory concepts, like actual exercises, right? One thing that we talk about is this process called what I call the 3R process, right? About how I actually implemented it regularly in my life, right? To be able to get that high levels of energy. So so if anybody wants, I think I put a link, right? I can send it over to you. So there's a guide about the complete guide to managing overwhelm, burnout, right? Getting high levels of energy, right? And then I think probably the second one, right? I think it's just more of a structured framework and system I've created, right? About how I was able to achieve not only what I wanted, right? In terms of income, but without sacrifice, without burnout. So we have used it for my clients. It's the same exact process we bring through every one of them. And I've got a lot of them to not just make six figures, right? But I think do it in a way that they feel freedom and fulfilled right at the end of the day as well. So yeah, I send it to you guys. So you can find me. I think that's just a gift, right? And then you all can use it and apply it hopefully for your own fulfillment and income as well.
Awesome. I'll have that linked in the description. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks, Mark, for being here. This is another episode of 7-Minute Scaling Secrets. I hope all of you have taken something away from this episode. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to this podcast so you'll be notified whenever new episodes are being put out. Thanks again, everybody. Please take care, and I'll see you guys soon.